The air at the old gas station felt hot and stale, as if it had been trapped there for days under the blazing summer sun. Vanessa Moe stood next to pump number 4, her green cotton top sticking to her back with sweat, a dull ache pulsing behind her temples from another night of worry. The last thing she needed was any more problems. Rent was behind. Her second job at the diner barely kept the lights on, and her mother's medication kept swallowing every spare dollar she scraped together. She was just fishing her last 20 from her pocket, about to pay for a half tank to get through the week, when a rough voice snapped her attention sideways. "Look, man," growled a tall biker with arms like tree trunks and tattoos crawling up to his neck. "I told you I left my wallet at the shop. Just put a gallon in. I'll come back." His cut, a battered black leather vest, clearly read Hell's Angels. His hair tied in a loose ponytail, blue in the faint breeze, and a heavy scowl pulled his features into a tight knot. The gas station attendant, a clean-cut kid named Ryan, stood stiff as a lamppost. "No pay, no pump," Ryan repeated sharply. "Company rules, sorry." The biker's jaw clenched. He looked ready to break the pump in half. But something in his eyes stopped Vanessa cold. It wasn't rage. It was frustration, embarrassment, the look of someone backed into a corner, humiliated, maybe even ashamed. Vanessa could have stayed out of it. No one would blame her. A Hell's Angel. She should be running the other way. But her father, God rest him, always taught her to look for the person, not the label. She stepped closer, swallowing the tightness in her throat. "I can cover it," she told Ryan. Both men turned to look at her. The biker's eyes went wide, sharp blue, but somehow vulnerable. Ryan frowned. "Man." Vanessa nodded, handing over her 20. "Put 20 in his tank." The biker held up a hand, baffled. "Lady, you don't even know me." Vanessa gave a small, tired smile. "You look like you need a break." "It's just gas." Ryan hesitated, then sighed and took the bill. He set the pump to flow, and the biker exhaled a slow breath as if trying to steady himself. When the tank clicked full, he stepped forward, towering over Vanessa. "Name's Mark," he said gruffly. "Vanessa," she replied. Mark searched her face, searching for a catch or a scam, but found none. Just a woman barely getting by who still chose to help him. He nodded once deeply. "You're a rare one, Vanessa," he rasped, then kicked his bike alive with a deafening roar, threw a final look over his shoulder, and rode off toward the highway. Vanessa sighed, her hands shaking a little. That 20 was supposed to keep her car running all week, but her heart felt light. Maybe that was worth more. The next day came like any other. Vanessa worked a morning shift at the diner, cleaned her mother's bandages, tried to hold her life together by threads. Just as she started prepping dinner, rice and a can of beans, a strange noise rattled the window. It was a deep rumble, heavy, growing closer. Her pulse spiked. She stepped to the window and froze. Motorcycles, dozens of them. Big Harleys lined the block, engines idling, leather vests everywhere. The red and white Hell's Angels patches blazed like flags. Men and women sat on their bikes, silent, staring at her house. Vanessa nearly dropped the spoon from her hand. "Mama," she called, "stay inside." The front door rattled with a knock so heavy it nearly shook the hinges. Vanessa forced herself to open it. There in the dusk light stood Mark, the biker from yesterday, looking even bigger on foot than she remembered. "Vanessa," he rumbled, voice steady but serious. "Can we come in?" She swallowed, nodded, and stepped back. Mark lifted a hand and signaled to the rest. One by one, bikers climbed off their Harleys, carrying boxes, tools, bags of food. Vanessa stood there, stunned as they filed into her small yard. Mark gestured toward the peeling paint on her house, the sagging gutter, the loose front step. "You helped me when no one else would," he told her. "Our family doesn't forget that." She blinked, speechless. In a practiced rhythm, the crew got to work, one fixing the loose boards on her porch, another patching the leaking pipe by the side of the house, two more scraping old paint and repainting the faded siding. A woman in braids, wearing a smaller Hell's Angels patch, handed Vanessa a box of fresh groceries, eggs, milk, vegetables, even chicken, things she hadn't been able to afford for weeks. Vanessa felt tears sting behind her eyes. "I can't pay you for this," she stammered. Mark shook his head, his face softening. "You already did. You saw me as a person. That's enough." A biker named Jack knelt next to her old garden hose and reattached it, then started watering the dusty flower beds. Another young prospect took out Vanessa's trash. Someone even gave her mother a respectful nod through the window, asking if she needed anything. Vanessa had to sit down on the porch, overwhelmed. All this from a $20 tank of gas. Mark crouched next to her, a huge hand on his knee, looking awkwardly gentle. "No one usually does what you did," he said quietly. "They see the leather, the patch, and they treat us like monsters." "You didn't." Vanessa's voice trembled. "My daddy always told me, you help someone if you can." Mark nodded as if that explained everything. "Then your daddy raised you right," he replied. They worked until the streetlights flickered on, fixing, hauling, cleaning, leaving Vanessa's little house transformed. When they finished, Mark handed Vanessa a small brown envelope. "Club raised some money. Take it for your mom's meds, maybe." Vanessa shook her head, but he closed her hand around it firmly. "Take it," he repeated. The engines rumbled to life as the angels lined up to leave and neighbors peeked from their windows trying to make sense of it. Mark gave her a last nod, eyes warm. "If you ever need us," he said, "you know who to call." Vanessa stood on the porch, holding the envelope against her chest, tears streaming down her cheeks as the bikes thundered away into the night. In that moment, she understood what her father had meant all those years ago. You help because it's right, not because it's safe. And sometimes when you give to a stranger, the world gives back more than you ever imagined.